Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Newscast, where I go over the top news of the last week in retro handhelds, retro gaming, and just gaming in general. It's always great when we get a new device announcement from a larger company in the space. We'll talk about the Retroid Pocket Mini in just a bit, but let's get through some other news first. First up, in software news, Shad PS4 is flying for development right now. Remember again that this is the PS4 emulator for PC, and they have Bloodborne booting in-game as well as, I can't say playable, but I mean, it plays decently well. It's all the textures and all that stuff that's kind of broken, but obviously this is nowhere near ready. It's just, I can't describe it for anybody listening on the podcast that it's playable, but it's kind of playable-ish. Just look at the video. It's pretty cool to see that they've made this much progress in so little time, and I'm excited to see where they're going to be at in 6 months to a year or however long it takes, because this will be awesome. Jumping over into device news now, and we have a new updated roadmap for MagicX, and I feel like we're going to have this every week at this point, but here's the roadmap as of today. First, there's the XU Mini M Plus, and it's a replacement for the M that just came out. It'll have the same screen, but it'll have the all-winner A133P chip inside, and that's the same one that they used in the TrimUI Smart Pro. It'll have Wi-Fi, but not Bluetooth. It'll be Android 10, and it has a price of $55 and a release date of October. This kind of sort of basically just completely wipes out the Mini that they just released. So once again, if you haven't bought it yet, you might just want to wait for this one instead. Next, we have the Touch Zero, and it is a 4-inch 480 by 800 screen, and this is kind of a vertical-ish type of device. Same processor again, the A133P, Wi-Fi, and this one does have Bluetooth. Price of $65 and a release date of November or December. Next up is the Touch One, and it's horizontal, has a 3.5-inch screen with a 960 by 640 touchscreen. All-winner A523, which should be better than the A133. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on this one. Price of $80 and a release date of December. Lastly, we have the Mini L. It's a 4-inch 800 by 480 horizontal. Back to the A133 chip. This has Wi-Fi and no Bluetooth. Price of $60 and a release date of January. Honestly, spec sheets like this from companies without a track record don't really interest me too much. So if you are in that camp that gets excited about things like this, then here's all the information that I have as of today, and hopefully it all works out for you. I won't be reviewing any more MagicX products on my end, but I'll report on them here and there whenever they do release, so you'll at least know when they're coming out. Atari has a 7800 Plus available for pre-order, and it'll be releasing in winter of this year. This has an HDMI port, and it also works for both Atari 2600 and 7800 game cartridges. You can choose widescreen or 4:3 for aspect ratio. There's also a wireless game stick that you can purchase as well. Not sure who this might be for. This is before even me, so not something that I'm interested in, but I'm sure there's some of you out there. I know nothing more about this, so enjoy if it's your thing. Okay, so the biggest news of the day is the Retroid Pocket Mini that was just teased in a YouTube video. We found out afterwards in a Twitter post, which I'm not sure why they couldn't just put it in the video, but this has a 4:3 aspect ratio screen, 1280 by 960, so quite a bit high res, 3.7-inch screen, and it is OLED. And apparently there are no bezels. Now, to my eyes, it very much looks like a more ergonomic Retroid Pocket 2S. And I do love the Retroid Pocket 2S, so that is great to hear. But I'm almost certain that whoever made this made the Neo Pocket Air, because if you compare both of them together, they both look the same. This is like a mini version of the Neo Pocket Air. So I'm curious, what does everybody in the comments think about this one? I'm not sure that it's going to change anybody's mind that said 3.5 inches is too small on the 2S. This is only 0.2 inches bigger, but it does have OLED. So if you're one of those 4-inch purists, I want to know if this changes your mind at all. Does 3.7-inch OLED make up for the fact that it is not a full 4-inch device. I'll be honest, I was never part of that crowd, but I'm curious to see if you change your mind. On the other hand, I am not sure how much of a difference a bigger high-res screen makes at 3.7 inches. I'm gonna have to see when I get it in my hands, but it might be too small to notice a lot of difference, but I'm willing to bet that it is probably noticeable. The combination of OLED and a higher res screen will probably make a lot of games pop, and that's great. I think my only major concern about this is the size of it, because it has to be bigger than the 2S from what it looks like. And so at that point, it's not going to be a pocketable device, probably, and I'm wondering where it fits in completely. Although, with the specs that this might have, it seems like it might be pretty good. I'm hoping that the chip is at least on par with the D900, but it'll likely be a lot better than that, is my guess, considering it is dockable and that one wasn't. The other question is pricing, and I'm willing to bet that this is going to be in that $150 to $175 price range. Don't quote me, I don't know anything, I'm making guesses here, but it would be hard to see it at anything lower than that, I think is my point. I don't know if you could go lower, but we'll see. It probably won't be much longer until we get some sort of price. Now, the unfortunate part is this is likely going to arrive while I'm on vacation for 3 weeks, so you probably won't see a launch day review from me because I won't be around to do so, and I'll get to it as soon as I get back. And yeah, I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks in September. We'll talk about that as we get closer. Zotac is entering the handheld market with the Zotac Zone. And I don't know if it's the Zotac Gaming Zone or just Zone, but either way, Zotac Zone is what we're going to call it today. This has the Ryzen 8840U processor, which we've seen in a lot of different devices by now, has USB 4 for eGPU support, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabyte SSD, and it is a 2280 M2 SSD, so easily replaceable. 48 watt hour battery, and it's kind of tough to go back to that after having an X, but that's what this has. Windows 11, and it is priced at $799 US. But I didn't get to the best part. It has a 7-inch 1080p HDR 120 hertz OLED screen. So quite a bit of a fantastic screen on there. But it doesn't have variable refresh rate, so keep that in mind. Oh, and for Steam Deck fans, it also does have 2 trackpads, has a camera, and apparently a mic as well. So overall, I think my initial thoughts, and just initial thoughts because I am going to be reviewing this, is it looks interesting. There's a lot of good parts here, but the battery life is going to be the concern as usual. It's 48 watt hour battery. It's going to be as bad as the Ally is, as the Win 4 is, as other devices like that. And so in a world where the Ally X's 80 watt hour battery exists, at the same price, it is very tough to give that up for an OLED screen, for example, or trackpads, or whatever this is. But I'm very curious about this. I want to see it, get it in my hands, how it feels, all that sort of thing. But it's tough competition right now when you have the Ally X that just released and is just so much better on paper for a lot of different reasons. But honestly, I'm not going to say no to more competition in this space because that's just better for us. So great to see. Excited to get this in my hands pretty soon and review it, and we'll go from there. If my videos have been helping you, consider supporting me on Patreon or just give this video a like and a sub. You can also come join me on the Discord to talk about all of these retro handhelds every day, every week. Gamescom is this week, and so naturally there are a lot of video game announcements, and so I kind of consolidated into a list of games that I kind of care about, and maybe some of you might care about, but it's sort of a consolidated list that's more Joey focused than anything else. So here's what I have. Borderlands 4 was teased with a trailer, and it is coming sometime in 2025. I don't know if I ever played Borderlands 3, so not sure I'm super excited for Borderlands 4, but it is a big announcement. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is releasing February 11th, and I couldn't remember if we knew this already, but either way, that is the date, February 11th. If you were a fan of Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, then that's the sequel. Persona 3 Reload DLC is coming on September 10th. And you can just wake me when the full game releases because I'm not interested in just breadcrumbs of DLCs. I'll wait for the full game. Dying Light the Beast is coming, and it is a new Dying Light game in the universe, but apparently not a sequel to Dying Light 2. This is a different whole story, from my understanding, and I could be wrong. But if you're excited about more Dying Light, then this is it. Path of Exile 2 is coming to early access November 15th, and it'll be free to play. So if you're looking for that Path of Exile new game, this is it. Civilization 7 is coming on February 11th, 2025. And all that means is the timer starts for you to wake me when all of the DLC is out and the complete edition is out, because that's when I jump into a Civilization game. But for those that want to jump in from the start, February 11th. My personal favorite of these list of games, Reanimal, is coming from the creators of Little Nightmares, who unfortunately, I guess, can't make any more Little Nightmares games. Didn't look too much into what happened there, and I forget all of this, but I think they left or can no longer make it. They don't have the rights for it, something like that. But if you look at the trailer for this game, it is very much a Little Nightmares 3. It looks like that. Lastly, Amazon has a new video game themed anthology TV show called Secret Level coming. This has the creators behind Love, Death, and Robots. And if you haven't watched that, you probably should. It is really good. It is basically a mashup of a whole bunch of different games and episodes from different universes in those games. So it should be pretty interesting. There's obviously a whole bunch more to Gamescom, but those were the ones that interested me and I thought I would summarize. Okay, so we have to talk about Black Myth Wukong. And no, really, we have to talk about it because I am completely invested in that game and it is so great. But, and I'm glad they removed the dislike button on YouTube for this, I am not a Souls-like game person. I do not like Dark Souls. I don't like Elden Ring. I don't like Bloodborne. All of those games are not for me. I have tried so many times to get into those games. They're just not for me. They don't click in the way that they do for other people. So I thought that this was that. I never had it on my radar. When it came out, I was like, whatever. I don't care about this. Let me talk about something else. And then I saw the news that 4.5 million copies were sold in a day for this game. And I'm like, okay, what am I missing here? The same way that I said that about Elden Ring. And I thought again, I'm like, Elden Ring wasn't for me, but maybe this might be. And then I saw a few comments that said, this is God of War, and it's easier, and it's not really a Souls-like game, and you'll have a lot of fun with it. And I'm like, okay, I will try this one out. Tried it out, and I am addicted to this game. It is so very good. I've been playing it on my ROG Ally X, and I had to fiddle around with a bunch of different settings to get it to a 60 plus frame rate state. And that feels good, but it was soon apparent that I needed to play this game on my PC with my RTX 3080 because it looks that great. So, long story short, this segment is you should play Black Myth Wukong because it is absolutely fantastic and really good, and I am addicted, and I do not usually like these types of games, but this hits all of the right notes. So that is the segment for today. Second on my list of shilling video games for today, The War Within releases on World of Warcraft, the new expansion, today, at least if you bought the early access version, which I did because I am shameless and I had to spend more money to play it 5 days earlier because I've been playing World of Warcraft for so many years now that I had to. So all this means is that between Wukong and the new World of Warcraft expansion, you are likely not going to see me for a few days, and you're also probably not going to see a lot of videos from me because I just want to play. And so that's where I will be. And if you want to find me, it's on one of those two games. Now we're going to do a new exit because nobody ever takes me up on the offer for the newscast topic except for Matt. And so thank you, Matt, for doing it each time. For everybody else, appreciate you all watching. And that's all from me. Toowoomba.